What's going on, guys? So I hope you enjoyed the recording techniques video that we did yesterday where we were getting some classic rock tones. That video was made possible by Bruce John Dickinson of Waterbear Music College here in Brighton. Waterbear offer music qualifications at degree and master's level. As Bruce was kind enough to offer his time to talk us through all these recording techniques, I thought I'd find out more about what Waterbear had to offer for some of you guys. But before we did that, Bruce had a little present for me. Let's take a look.
I've got a present that I brought for you.
Oh.
And we talk about guitar sounds and recording, and this stuff actually makes a lot of difference. You can get it in most big music shops, you can get it online, you can get it at Anderton's or Guitar and Keyboards, and it's called Nut Sauce. Mm-hmm. Full title is Big Ben's Nut Sauce, and it's just another lubricant that goes in the nut, but it makes a lot of difference. So there you go. Next time you change your strings,
thank you very much.
Give it a bit of that, and your tuning and intonation tightens up no end, and it's great for recording.
Cool. No, thank you very much. That's very kind. A point to remember for everyone as well.
It's very good if you've got a Strat with a traditional wang bow as well, because that's how Jeff Beck does all that stuff, where he's all over the place with an old skull, springs in the back and no Floyd Rose.
And it can stay in tune because they can actually move.
Yeah.
Ah, good to know. Fantastic.
Well, I mean, the history is we've started a new college called Waterbear, but going back in time, I've always been a professional guitar player. That's been my kind of day job since I not so much left school as kind of conked out and bought a transit van and went on the road. There's two other directors at Waterbear. Mark Claydon from the band Pitch Shifter, and Adam Bushell, who's a professional drummer and currently is playing with Freak Power, and he's out and about doing the stuff. So we're all musicians, but we've got a huge interest in education that goes back nearly 20 years now, and we just love teaching. I mean, I get as much buzz out of doing a big gig or teaching a class or working even one-to-one with guitar players and singer-songwriters. I just love it, So.
And that's the thing that stands out to me, only having known you guys and the other people at Waterbear for the 9 months or so I've been in Brighton. The fact that you've all been there and done it, at least in some capacity, and at least at some of the highest levels. When I went to university, there was a feeling or a vibe of the place that the teachers and lecturers had perhaps stayed in university for either been in it too long or not got stepped out there into the real world enough. I remember you said recently that you did Colour of Noise.
Yes. As
an experiment to literally try it so that you could...
This is the great thing. I did Colour of Noise when I was 47. That was 3 years ago, and it was really to see if you could get away with starting a new band. And what I realised is there's no age limit anymore at all. So for all of us, we're already in the music business. There's no barrier between us and our audience, and there's no age limit. So we can just plan. As long as you've got a sensible plan, a bit of talent and a lot of drive, you can have a lifetime in music. And that's what Waterbear's about. The reason it's called Waterbear is a water bear is actually a little creature, and its Latin name is tardigrade. Tiny little thing, microscopic almost, but its defining feature is it's indestructible, more or less. You can boil it, fire it into space, it can survive a nuclear explosion, and we want that level of resilience for creative people, for musicians, to be able to stand this kind of roller coaster ride through a creative career and come out the other end smiling.
I think that's just needed, because I know I've heard too many stories of people actually been handed a record deal or had the success, and then a year or 2 years later, it all come crumbling down to and almost being worse off than when you started, because there's no
training for it.
Exactly. Not only do you have no training or support, but it's like you've had your shot, you now have no chance. Well, you tried it and it didn't work out. And I feel kind of blessed that certain things didn't come off for me 10, 15 years ago.
You got to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I went to college with a couple of members of the Arctic Monkeys.
Right.
And then I went to university, and they went off to be the Arctic Monkeys, literally went down to London and signed a deal.
That's amazing.
And it was hard for a while to sort of see them have that success and thinking, I'm here studying and they're doing that. Did I make the wrong choice going for this? It was a weird thing to sort of do, and I've since realised that touring the world 200 or 300 days out of the year wouldn't have suited me, and I'd have really come crashing down to earth at some point in a bad way.
Probably. It's tough touring, but it can be great.
Yeah.
Particularly in your early 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our version of that story is we had a number one album in 1993. Like not in the rock charts, number one in the main charts, you know. And then we toured with Van Halen that year, and Bon Jovi, Bryan Adams, ZZ Top had a number one album, and yet fashion changed like that. Kurt Cobain released Nevermind, Nirvana happened. We were out of a record deal 6 months later.
And of course, a lot of that is the same fan base, just taste changing. It's such a weird thing. Now I think there's a lot more of the same people liking a lot of different music.
Yeah.
But I think in the 80s and 90s it was, we're all into this, and now we're all into that.
You know, they grow up. So your fans, like you have families, buy a house and sort of start living a more grown-up life in inverted commas. But the amazing thing is, they're all still there. And we got Little Angels back together 20 years on, and the fans just came out. It's like 20 years haven't happened. You know, it's like, but that's what I mean. You know, this is why all of us can plan for having a lifetime in music, because it's not like the old days where you were old and has been at 25. You know? Well, I'm very excited about the guitar syllabus, which we've worked on with the guitar team. We've got Rob Chapman, who's helped with it again, like you, with the innovation side of it in the context of the guitar space, if you like. Dan Weller from Six. We've got both the lads from the Temperance Movement.
Which you can tell in particular, that's my style of playing.
Yeah,
like,
great players, great people, and they're nice people. They're there to listen to the people in the class, you know. But the thing that's always troubled me about guitar education is that people want you to play a certain way, and teachers often come in and, without meaning to, they try to get you to play their way. And that would be silly for me to do, because I'm very specific. I fly the flag for classic rock, but I don't. You know, I don't think it's right for anyone else. You know, I do my thing, you know.
Yeah, it's...
So I think the best thing to do is give people a range of players, but you've got to have a common sense approach to understanding the guitar neck inside out, and that's very logical. Over the years, we've all come to a bit of a shared view on that. And for example, if a scale's got 7 notes,
do you want to just move it down? Just have it on your knee, as it
is. If a scale's got 7 notes in it, then it'll have 7 positions. You know, that's a major scale in 7 positions. And actually it gives you all your modes, and actually it's only 3 shapes. Okay. So there's all these like logical ways of looking at it that mean that pretty much you can learn the guitar inside out in about a year.
When you say 3 shapes, would that be 3 notes per string? When you
that's
it down to 3 shapes?
Yeah, you know, that kind of style. However, I play like this. I'm a Hendrixy, John Frusciante kind of. You know,
I get this a lot, and obviously. They both have their merits, is the thing, but everything at some point, at some level, becomes genre specific. It has to.
It does, but that's your gig. You know where you want to take your playing. So you should be in contact with loads of players, and your understanding of technique is almost like a reference book on the shelf. Yeah. So you refer to it, and you come back to it for years, and you go, "Oh, what if I want to play an E flat over some funny chords? What do I do here?" You know, you've got to be able to sort of cope with that stuff. But very important to develop your own style. So what we've done in our performance classes is, rather than give someone a Rage Against the Machine track or something specific, which half the class will be into and half will, it's not their thing, you know, we give people a chart with a chord structure, and we give them suggestions. So it's all about the harmony. What we're going to do with this, and what scale choices have you got? Are you going to shred all over the top of it, or are you going to be minimal? Are you going to be textural? Are you going to play like Dave Gilmour? Or are you going to play like Tom Morello? You know, and then we work through all the possibilities. And the great thing is, with the 15 people in the class, you're going to get 15 different versions of events,
100%.
15 different pieces of music. And then the killer bit is, we invite in a professional bass player, a drummer, and we go into a place where we can use these big amps and get used to playing together as a band, really tight, really professional, MD in it, and developing guitar sounds and confidence of that kind of live gig setting.
Yeah.
And also within it, just pulling out the great bits of your own personality. Because as a guitarist, what we're selling is personality.
I agree a lot.
That's why I don't have to compete with Guthrie Govan. My hands aren't that fast. So I met Guthrie fairly early on, 20 odd years ago, and I realised that he was so amazing at that. He kind of had it covered, and it meant I could relax and just be Bruce.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. for myself, there have been very few virtuoso guitarists that appeal to my ear.
Shame on you.
It is one of those, and there are a handful of amazing guitarists that really do appeal. Paul Gilbert is one of them.
Yeah.
And I can watch any Paul Gilbert guitar lesson ever.
Yeah.
He just has a way of saying things that again might not be my typical style of playing.
Yeah.
But I always want to know it because Paul's done it.
You
can actually hear that in the fingers as well.
Absolutely. And we're all in the entertainment business. And so he's a really good example. Ingve's entertaining. Eddie Van Halen, he's got this naivety and this incredible innocence to his playing. And I love that. But, they're doing their thing. And it's for all of us to find our own niche and do our thing. And if you do that commit to everything that you feel and hear with your music, then you'll find an audience.
100%. Who's the ideal person that should sign up for one of your courses? Well, I'm well aware there's a range.
Yes.
But just who would this be ideal for?
I can answer this question really specifically. I mean, we do lots of content for everybody. We put, knowledge is free and we give it out. We love to help all musicians. But to study a degree, some musicians feel they would benefit from some letters after the name. I mean, doing a master's degree changed my life. So we've got a master's for experienced professional players. The degree is for people who are 18, 19, 20 to, well, any age, but it's for people who have got something going on but aren't really ready to go out there and have a career straight off, so they need more support and more guidance.
But it's also, I'm very aware that if something would take off with the career, it's encouraged to follow that and to build something up on the side while you're doing the degree in something you would support it.
I think a modern guitar degree has to fit round your life, not the other way around.
And whatever else is going well for you. You know, for example, a YouTube channel.
Exactly. That could be the modern equivalent of getting a record deal. Is your YouTube suddenly kicks off.
It is in a way, yeah.
But we teach this stuff like growing your Instagram audience is very important. So it's not some little thing that, if someone's on the phone, for too long, a lot of kind of people in education have been saying it's a waste of time. And actually, probably one of the best things you could be doing, sorting out your social media, because that's where we broadcast. That's our gigs a lot of the time these days.
100%. And especially if you do a live broadcast, it is a live gig in a way.
Well, touring's very expensive for bands, and one thing that really puts a lot of pressure on new artists is they'll get a support tour, and realistically could cost $5 or $6 a week to get your splitter van and your hotels and everything. So a lot of smart bands now tour digitally almost, and then when they've grown their audience, that's when they go on the road. Yeah,
I agree. It's the right way around as well, but also mobile phones and tablets are the TV sets for a lot of people, and
that's right.
They are for me a lot.
That's right. We should talk about how people apply to Waterbear, because it's an audition process.
Okay.
We treat everyone very much as an individual. That's very important, because everybody organises their career in a slightly different way. You earn your living out of guitar, so do I. The way we organise our income streams and our professional life is very different. So I think the days of treating a class full of guitar players as one class are kind of gone, and it's much more of a debate these days. So we invite everybody in for a 1-hour consultation. People generally send us links so we can check out the play, and we really want to listen to the music and see what you've got going on. If you've got a band, very interested in that. And we take our time to really consider how the course could fit round that person and help them go from A to B. And it's about your definition of success. It's not about mine. It's about where do you want to go, how can we make that realistic and achievable, and make a sensible plan.
And this is enabled as well by smaller class sizes, by definition of the university, rather than for any other means. And again, my experience was massive class sizes. When the year got together, it was an auditorium.
Yes.
Trying to teach mixing, and
I've taught those big classes.
Yeah.
And you can do it well. It's like a gig. Sometimes a big gig is quite nice, but equally a really intimate gig in the 100 Club is a different thing.
And especially towards the end of the degree, it was like. It wasn't. I'm particularly self-sufficient, so I benefited from it, and I was allowed to choose what I wanted to do and would do well in. Others just completely got lost and left by the wayside, and in large numbers, unfortunately.
And musicians do need support, because you do get people like you who are very savvy, and I've got some business skills as well, but some of the greatest musicians I know need a lot of support with that,
Of
because
course.
all their energies go into the creative side, and it can be really tough for those people. They're very sensitive. The music industry is pretty hard, so people just need support.
And also, there we're talking about some of our favourite artists, probably.
Yeah.
You know, the support systems of old were in place for, really.
Support system's a good word. An education establishment, when you're doing your degree, the knowledge and the skills is one part of it, but you also have to work on your personal business skills, your personal development skills, so resilience, managing stress, stuff like that's really important, because as you get more successful and your career kicks off, that stuff doesn't get easier. You know, so we got
No, in many ways it only gets harder. The more stuff is happening, the more success you may have. As you rightly point out, that's just a pressure cooker for not fun times, really.
And that's why it's great to have small classes, so you just make sure everyone's okay. And a path through a degree is like riding a bike. You know, you want it to stay on the right path.
Yeah,
it requires time and discussion.
No, fantastic. And certainly the other thing that's standing out is you are starting a new music college and university, and it seems that people are really flocking round Waterbear and really come towards it because of the people, because of yourself.
Well, there's a nice
everyone
course
else involved.
You know, and there's an infrastructure as well, because the degrees are validated by the University of Sussex. We've got a great relationship with them.
And the online learning is just incredible, and something that I obviously believe in.
Yeah.
But
So do I.
I really do feel that people would equally benefit no matter where in the world you may be. You don't have to be here in Brighton, although I moved here 9 months ago and
It's very cold.
It's very cool. From another music city as well. Leeds is a big music city, definitely, but I didn't encounter this sort of network down here of musicians that educate and support each other.
I think music does bring us together, and this is the great thing about online, is that you professional songwriters now write across time zones and
100%.
across countries, and I think a lot of our classrooms of the future will be in Brighton, but also a mixed group of people on a shared forum from all around the world. And the exciting thing is the creative mix and the creative potential for, we could have a super group.
Even jamming online, that's now a reality.
Yeah.
It's not close. It's here.
Yeah, and records are made that way. We send our records to be mixed all over the world.
So it can be done as and actually here in Brighton and everything in the facilities at Waterbear. It can be in America, wherever you may be, and totally online, or it could be a mix of the two.
Yeah,
which would have definitely appealed to me. Say if I was in a band in Manchester and it was going really well, and I was thinking, do I want to relocate and leave all that? You perhaps don't have to, and you perhaps can travel as and when you need and things like that.
The other important factor as well in all this is managing your time as well, because guitarists have to practice a lot. My bones grew around the guitar. The old black Les Paul I've got was here, and that's how I grew up. And you had to put your 4 or 5 hours a day in. And it's still the same. There's more things to do now, more socials and stuff. But you've got to have that guitar in your hand.
Yeah.
So when you write a degree, you've got to factor that in.
Yeah, with the time.
The time and the running the band and getting the gigs. And that has to be part of your degree rather than doing a load of stuff and then doing that on top. Why not build it all in together? Because those transferable skills will stand you in good stead for whatever you do in life. If you can run a band, you can run a business.
Which has definitely been the case for me, and that's where I feel that my degree really did benefit me. I am one of those people that use the modules that we did every day, but my modules included business and the music industry and website design and all this kind of thing. And it was a massive plus, and I didn't realise a lot of the benefits at the time because, for example, YouTube was in its infancy, and there was no YouTube channel when I started university.
Yeah, there is now though, and we do teach this stuff and take it really seriously.
Yeah.
But I think one of the other things is the address book you get. We are big on hooking people up. What we do is join the dots. And bring in people who organise festivals and run record labels and do crowdfunding and all that. But the most important contacts that people will get on a degree is those in the class and people around you, because they're the ones that will be running the music business in 5-10 years' time. And we've been doing this for 20 odd years, and generations of students have now come through in very senior positions.
Yeah, it is the case. It's who you know.
It is.
As much as what you know.
So be nice to everyone in your class.
100%. No, that's really fab. So thank you so much for talking to us about Waterbear.
Thanks.
It is something that I'm looking forward to being involved in a small way, but you know, it's an honour to be involved.
Well, we really appreciate your interest in it, and I think you could play a very important part in helping people, not with just with musical aspects, but also with this. You know, this is how guitar careers are now.
Yeah.
So, you know, your help and guidance on YouTube, growing an audience, whether you're in a band or a solo player, will be really invaluable.
Thank you so much for checking out this video, guys. You can learn more about Waterbear Music College and the courses they offer by clicking the links in the description. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again.